know what's interesting? When I had my head shaved, it seemed like every week somebody would compliment my, build and ask how old I was. Something like, man, you're really in shape. How old are you, dude? Like that. Like they knew I was old, but basically my face and, looked old to them, but my body looked young. So they were confused by it, Well, since I've grown my hair back in, I don't get that question anymore. Nobody says, how old are you? I haven't heard it in a month, at least. And now I do think part of it was the stress that I was going through, post breakup with Danielle. So I was really stressing and not sleeping right, and I was losing weight fast, and I do think it had a pretty dramatic effect on my face. But having said that, the hair being short definitely, I think, added to that age look. And I think people thought, that I was bald, legitimately bald. And now that I've grown my hair in, I don't think that I look bald anymore. My hair's pretty thick, and it's not even all that receded. I'm not saying it's what it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, certainly not 20 years ago. But I don't think anybody would look at me and say, oh, that guy's going bald. So, and considering there's guys in their 30s who you would look at and immediately say, oh, he's going bald. I don't think my hairline is any longer an indicator of my real age. In other words, I don't have the hair of a 52-year-old. I have the hair of a 32-year-old. So, or, a 32-year-old that's just barely losing his hair. Let's put it that way. I don't have the hair that I had at 32, but I had really fucking thick, beautiful fucking hair at 32, motherfuckers. So, yeah, but it's just interesting. And it's something because it bugged me, because Danielle was saying, you're getting old, Rob, you're not a young man anymore, and you're 52 now, Rob. She kept saying that. And then on top of her and having to listen to her say it, I'd go to the gym, and once a week somebody would say, they'd put it almost as a compliment, but they would, but I know that they're asking, they're trying to figure out how old I am, because I look old up top and I look young, I have the physique of a, 30-year-old guy. And they can't kind of understand it. So they're like, how old are you? How old are you, man? Man, how old are you? And it wasn't like I would tell them 52 and they'd be surprised either. It was like, man, or I'd say, well, I'm 52. And they'd be like, man, you look great. It wasn't like, you're 52. Now I tell somebody I'm 52, they're like, really? Man, you don't look 52. So it was a little depressing, to be honest. It was on top of having to hear Danielle say it constantly, which I think part of that was that she was dating a younger guy, and so her brain was, comparing me to him based on age. And so I don't even know that she was necessarily consciously trying to put me down, but that's where I was in her mind. I was the older man. I was the old man that she used to date. Now she's dating a young guy. That's what I think was really going on. And maybe she was also noticing that, look of, my hair, being thin, and her thinking, boy, he's getting old. You know what I mean? So every couple days now, I send her a fucking picture of me looking fucking sharp as shit, baby. You know, sharp as a fucking knife. Goddamn sharp as an axe. You know what I mean? I am getting pretty good. The only thing that fucking bugs me is these wrinkles here, whatever they fucking are, lines that they're always fucking there. I don't know, if I could get Botox and fucking smooth those motherfuckers out, I would do it. I don't know what it would cost, but I would fucking do it. You know? Get rid of them 2 big fucking crinkles in the middle of my fucking head. But I will say this, I'm getting that goddamn surgery on my belly button, and that will at least make me feel confident. Like, I don't really mind it in pictures. You know, it is what it is. But I don't like to, well, I have a nice 6-pack, and if I didn't have that belly button, I'd be like pulling my shirt up in the middle of workouts and showing off my fucking 6-pack, you know, looking at the mirror and shit. I don't want to do that with my belly button poking out like the fuck it does, you know? So, once that's taken care of next month, I'm going to be a lot more confident with my stomach. And, you know, it is, the primary motivation is, you know, aesthetics, looks, whatever you want to call it. But there is real potential for that to cause a problem down the road. And it can get what they call incarcerated, which is the same word about prison. Someone's incarcerated. You know, food or bile, I guess, not food, but bile can get like trapped in there, and it can poison you. And if it happens, you'll get real sick real fast, and you'll go into the emergency room because you'll be in serious pain, and they have to do an emergency surgery on you. And then, you know, that situation, when that happens, makes the surgery far more dangerous and increases the likelihood of problems. And so getting it done while there's no real health issues lowers the risk. So there's real benefit to doing it now, aside from just that, you know, I'll look better, you know. But yeah, the hair, you know, I mean, it's clearly not as thick. There's little, you know, spots and stuff, but I don't know. It looks pretty good, you know. And I don't know, as it grows, I want to grow it another probably inch, another ½ inch on the sides, and maybe a little bit quarter inch. I don't know. I might keep it shaved above the ears, but you know, just to kind of square my head off a little bit. More of a flat top look. But I just don't know. It almost seems to me like as it gets longer and longer, it's getting thinner looking. So, if that continues, then I'll probably just cut it back to where it's at right now. You know, this like 1 inch length, and then just keep it at that length going forward. But I'm gonna try growing it out another couple months and see what happens, and you know, check it every month and then assess what to do with it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this video. I'm kind of bored of driving into town, Johnstown. I'm gonna go to the Planet Fitness and probably TN, and I don't know. I got some other stuff going on in Johnstown tonight. So I don't know. I'm not really making this video for you, Danielle. And I really started just talking to the camera to kind of, you know, because I just wanted to talk about my fucking hair. You know, people were making fun of my hair nobody was making fun of my hair, but you know, commenting on my age, and I wasn't used to that. You know, nobody's ever really, you know, asked me, like, because it was like they're looking, and the thing was, you could tell that they were looking at me like, this guy's old, but his body's young. You know what I mean? This guy's face is older. This guy's hair is old. He's got an old head. He's an old head, literally, but a young body. And so they were like trying to figure out what age I was, you know. So, and I never had anybody do that. And I mean, I've been 52 for 8 months, and you know, the first 3 months nobody asked me like that. Then all of a sudden I shaved my head, and people kept asking me how old I was. And like I say, on top of Danielle commenting on my age, it bothered me a little bit, you know. But, you know, I'm a pussy, so whatever, you know. And I still know that even when they would ask my age, they'd be like, wow, you look good. You look amazing. How do you know? Because, you know, basically because of the body. My physique was that of like a 30-year-old or a muscular 30-year-old or a really built 30-year-old. And my, you know, it was just that the hair being gone and I think the stress in my face that I was wearing. And so anyway, I don't know. Probably upload this. I don't know if I noted this before, but I got a email requesting a demo video of me DJing. So I got one together and I sent it out, and who knows? I might get a job on a goddamn cruise ship. I mean, that would just be, I think that would be fucking, man. Because it opens up, the thing is, you know, you could make the same amount of money, maybe even more, not working on a cruise ship, but you can't, you know, all your expenses are paid, you know, your rent, you don't have rent, you don't have nothing. And like where I live, I can move out of there in a month's notice. You know, bing, bang, boom, I'm gone. And, you know, so, and if I could, you know, live on a cruise ship for 4 to 6 months or however long they let you sign on for, you know, and I guess you probably do it in like smaller increments, whatever it is, 4 months, 6 months. And then if you want to renew, you renew. But, I mean, if I could, you know, if I could make even $4,000 a month, $1,000 a week for 6 months, fuck, I'll have, you know, $24,000 fucking dollars saved. You know, I'm sure you probably have to pay for your drinks on board, but I mean, if you go on, you know, offshore or go to the islands, I think you're allowed to do that depending on when you're on duty or not. So, you know, you're going to spend some money, but even if you spent, you know, a couple $100 a week, if you're making $1,000, if you saved $800 a week, that's $3,200 a month, you know. I mean, you know, 6 months, you got 20 grand saved. And, you know, you could do a lot of stuff with that. I mean, I don't know. And there's the other thing, is it opens up other possibilities. You know, now you've been a DJ on a fucking cruise ship. Well, first of all, you know, you come back here and want to be a wedding DJ, you're like, yeah, I just come back. You got video of yourself working on the cruise ship, and you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden now you got a website, you got a fucking Facebook page with 6 months of videos from the cruise ship. I mean, people are going to eat that shit up. You know, this guy was, you know, that's a big deal. And then there's also the possibility, like Chat was even saying, you know, you could get a gig in like a big club from that. You know, next thing you know, you're DJing in Miami or something, making $1,000 or $2,000 a night. You know, and so, I mean that, you know, and then let's not, you know, ignore the fact that you're on a ship with every week 1,000 new, 2,000 new people. You know, maybe 500 of them are women. You know what I mean? and you're like the safe dude. You're the guy that works there. They don't have to worry about. And you know, next thing you know, you got every week you got a new batch of women to fucking meet. I mean, it just sounds like a fucking, I don't know, trouble. It sounds like fucking trouble. But I don't know, man. I mean, so but you might meet somebody that, you know, you really hit it off with, and who has money, because they're on a cruise. They're gonna have some money. That doesn't make them rich. You know, cruises aren't all that expensive, and you know, you can go on a cruise, and if you can afford any vacation, you can probably afford a cruise. It's a little more expensive, but not much, especially if you usually get nice hotels. Not like me, I get the fucking $75 a night fucking, you know, quality and special. But You know, if you're staying in a Hilton or something and spending $300 a night, you know, for a week, that's, you know, $2,000. So, and that's just the hotel, and you got to buy food and everything else. So you can spend just as much staying in a nice hotel for a week as you can on a cruise. But yeah, so I don't know. But you know, there is some of those people are going to have money, like legit money, like millionaire money, and if you meet the right woman, you might have a whole new life coming out of there. You know, yeah, I'm done with this in 6 months. You keep track with her. If she has enough money, she might book another cruise on your ship. You know, well, I'll be back next month. You know, some of them women, you know, they're divorcees and they're living off half the money that their ex-husband fucking millions of that he made when they were together. You know, they ain't got to do nothing, work or nothing. They got alimony coming in, $10,000 a month. They got the $1 million house and the Mercedes and the fucking. So I don't know. You know, I dated a girl like that down in Florida for a week or half a week. You know, lived in a fucking $500,000, $1 million house probably. Down there it's probably here it would be a $500,000 house, but down there it's probably $1 million house. Anyway, so I mean, it just opens up doors, and nothing else. If nothing else, you come back and like I said, now you got, you know, a Facebook page full of fucking, you know, video of you DJing, you know, at these on the cruise ship, and you know, I mean, you know, that's like priceless in terms of marketing value, you know. You know, you could even give yourself a DJ name that like tied into that, like DJ Carnival Cruise or DJ Cruiseman Cruise or something, you know. DJ Cruise would be good. Yeah, that'd be real good, DJ Cruise. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the possibilities are just fucking incredible. You know what I mean? So I try not to get overly excited about it, because the reality is, you know, I gotta still get through everything, pass all the background checks, get a fucking and get hired. I haven't even got hired yet, and you know, but it's more the background checks, and I have to get a fucking passport and everything else. So I told them I had a passport, so I'm just gonna fucking, if they get serious and it seems like they're gonna hire me, then I'll just go, you know, get a passport. I know it takes weeks, but I'll start the process. But I'm not spending whatever it is. It's not cheap anymore. You know, I'm not spending hundreds of dollars to get a fucking passport, and when I may not even have the job. So, but yeah, I don't know. I feel pretty good about it. And to be honest, I was surprised that they emailed me that quickly, because I didn't, you know, I applied to like 2 jobs, 2 places, and, you know, one of them got back to me, and and then there was like a third, I think it was Carnival. I could not get the fucking application up to upload. It just kept giving me an error fucking notice. So, but I got like a big cruise company. I forget the name of it, but like, you know, I've heard of it before. So, I don't know. I'm hoping it'll be like one of the big fucking cruise ships, you know, with like, they're like as big as a goddamn fucking city, you know, 2,000 people on it and shit, you know. And I would hope and think that they're gonna have like a nice gym on there, and I'll be able to stay in shape. I don't know if I'll be able to eat like I do now, because, you know, I eat steak every fucking day, but, you know, you'll have more incentive to stay in shape and be, you know, try to be healthy. So, you know, and I don't know what kind of hours it is. The one thing about it is, as a DJ, I would assume most of your work is in the evenings. You know what I mean? Like, are they going to have you DJ and dance parties in the afternoon? You might do birthday parties or something, but I would think you'd probably be working at night, you know, 8 8 to 1 in the morning or something, you know. I don't know. But, I mean, that'd be perfect for me. So, anyway, I'm going to shut this down and upload it. I don't know if you're going to watch it or anybody's going to watch it, but, yeah, that's that. Like I said, heading into Johnstown. Got some shit going on tonight. I guess if you're watching this, Danielle, you know, I've noticed that your car's been home all afternoon the last couple days. You do not sit in that fucking house all afternoon, so it tells me that you're at his house or you're somewhere, then, you know, 2 days in a row. And I know last night you were home, so you didn't go on some vacation for 2 days. So you're for whatever reason, whether you know, you might be leaving at night and then coming, you know, staying all afternoon at his house. I don't know, but you know, I'm at a point where I'm still disgusted that you want to continue to lie about it. But I know the truth, and you know, I don't really need to catch you in his car and at the end of the day, even if I did, like I said, you'd come up with some bullshit story and, oh, it's my mom's friend, you know. That's Denny's son. We were going to see Denny. Yeah, sure, it just happens to be a silver car, and it looks like the same guy you saw a month ago, but, you know, oh, that was Denny's son too. I just didn't want to tell you because you'd assume I was fucking him. I can imagine your fucking brain. You think you come up with good shit, but like, you know, and sometimes you fooled me. I mean, like I didn't realize, like I was stupid enough that I like, it really took me and chat having a conversation about the shit you pulled with Alyssa, telling her to call and, you know, say Kenna had to come home or whatever, you know, to get me out of your house those 2 weeks in a row. You know, I mean, and what were you doing? I mean, really, did you really call, have her do that but like I said, you know, I mean, I'm sure you were leaving to go fuck them, because it doesn't even make fucking sense that you would, you know, first of all, if you're leaving, why would, you know, what else are you going to leave for at 11 o'clock? You're not leaving to go fucking play cards or watch TV, you know. And you're going to a party, you're going to go fuck them, something. And then secondly, you know, you wouldn't be just having me leave so you can make a phone call, because, you know, you could have easily went outside and said, I have to call my daughter and talk to her, and went outside and called her, you know, walked around the back of the house if you had to worry about me hearing you. And at that point, I probably wouldn't even have tried to listen. Or went downstairs and said, I'm going to go downstairs and check on the animals. And you could have done all kind of ways. And you know. And I'm sure, I don't remember specifically, but I'm sure that when I was at your house in those times, you would go call your daughter. You know, I'm sure you did. So, you know, you could have just said you were calling her back, or you were, you know, so, or called her and then called him. So I don't think it was all, you went that far just to get a phone call. You know, you were fucking leaving and going probably to get dick right after you fucked me. I mean, that just goes to show how fucking, you know what I mean? Like, what a hoe bag you are. I mean, honestly. Like you didn't get enough fucking dick that you're going to kick the guy out that you had come fuck you for, you know, we were fucking for 2 or 3 hours back then. You got fucked for 2 or 3 hours and then still needed more dick? I mean, what the fuck is, I mean, you know, and then you want me to trust you, and, oh, you should have relationships built on trust. Yeah, it's like trying to trust a fucking prostitute. I mean, seriously, get the fuck out of here. Trust you. Oh, shit. I mean, I can't even believe I give a fuck about you, to be honest. Well, unbelievable. And you know, I guess there's part of me that's like, well, maybe she just had you leave to make a phone call. And even that's bad enough, you know. That's bad enough. Fuck you. Let's put it that way. Fuck you. Have a good night, man.